Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Wanted to go through a really important topic today. That is, how do we take our range swing out to the golf course? A lot of people struggle with this. It is a very frustrating process at times. Being able to hit it really good on the range and then going out to play and not seeing that skill transfer. So today I'm going to highlight my good buddy Fraser and his process to continue to improve his game and what we're focused on bringing the skill from the range out to the golf course. Excited to share this with you. I'm going to go through 3 different steps in this. First is being very clear what your tendency is when you play. So ideally, when you're out there playing, if you're able to get like 1 swing or 2 swings when you're playing, then you can start to really look at, okay, is my thought of what I think is happening an actual thing? If you need feedback on what's right for you, make sure you check the description below, because I think this is a really fun and important part of the journey to help people get better. So here's Ian. We got a couple things going on. So I'm just going to play it once. Okay. So you see, it was a great shot. He hit it to the middle of the green. Things that are factored into this, okay? So we're outside. This is later in the day. He's understanding sort of some tendencies, which I'll go in. But number one, we're just going to look at the swing tendency. Obviously, aim is a little bit to the right, which I'll highlight later and why. As he goes up to the top, his pivot slows down a little bit, and then he gets a little bit extra sort of trail arm flex when he gets to the top. Okay, so if we go, okay, that's his on-course swing, backswing focus. I'm just focused on backswing right now. That's going to cause some certain things in transition, but I'm not going to go there yet. So here is his simulator swing. Okay, so you can see bigger pivot, little less trail arm flexion, club's a little bit further from him. He's getting a nice amount of width. Obviously, like really, really nice strike on this. So I think if I highlight, okay, so we look at the picture of that top, and then if I go to this top, you can see how much more bunched up he looks like when he's on the course, right? Like things are a little closer to him, hips not as turned. Totally fine, but that's going to help us dictate how we're going to structure practice and how much he's going to need to exaggerate things going forward. Okay, so step 1 in this process, know what actually happens when you play. Don't necessarily go off what you think's happening. If you get a chance, get one video around, check it after versus what you think is happening. And if you're not sure what you need to focus on, make sure you get some help with that, or check out the description and we can help you with that. Step 2 in getting the range swing to transfer to the golf course is, once you understand what is happening when you play, then we have to adjust practice and maybe exaggerate it more. There's sort of 2 roads you can do this with, okay? So one is, hey, I'm on the right track with my practice. I just have to continue to put in those reps and start to trust it a little bit more when I play, because I do see that it's going the right direction, okay? So there's a bit of patience involved. Tough with golf to be patient, but there's patience involved if you're going that route. Another way, if you want to continue to push it ahead, is working on the patterning and where you want to exaggerate things, okay? So when we're looking at Ian's swing here, this is where we're trying to exaggerate. This is him as wide as he can with as big of a hip turn as he can, okay? So that's a massive exaggeration. He's definitely not comfortable with that yet, which is totally fine, but that is where our exaggerated feel is when he's practicing. And then if we go on to the range, so you can see things that are important, I think, over time, making sure the aim's good. So you can see the sticks are down on the ground. He has, obviously a target selected. Those things, when we're looking at exaggerations, we want to take out variables, right? So if we're aimed way to the right and we do an exaggerated swing, well, and the ball launches to the right, if you're not sure where your aim is, you could be guessing, okay, was I aimed there, or was it because of what I exaggerated caused that shot? But if your aim is good, and you know aim, distance from the ball position are all variables that you're controlling when you're practicing, then you can say, okay, my exaggerated focus is causing this shot, ideally a straight one, but if it's not, you can do a little bit more problem solving and figure it out. If you don't have a practice station set up, the tough thing is then you are not sure, I think, from a day-to-day standpoint, if the ball position changes, well, that's going to change what the flight is. If the setup changes or distance from the ball changes, that's going to change the flight. So I would be really diligent in creating an environment where you're isolating variables so you can focus on your exaggerated sense. So that's step 2 in transferring the skill from the range out onto the golf course. Step 3, once you do the exaggerated feels, then we start to have a little bit more, like with TrackMan, you can do a little bit more like a combine style practice or strokes gain practice where you're actually focused on the shots you're hitting and how they do when you put them into a real life situation. So that would be one way. The other way, I think, it's sort of part of this. Okay. So first is testing your skill on the course. And once you're doing that, you'll be able to have a bit better acceptance when you play of what is currently happening. So being able to play what you currently have, I think, is important. So if I go back to this first shot that I highlighted with Ian, when he's out there playing, this is later in the round, you can see it's a pretty far right pin here, and he's aimed right of the green, right? So when I'm getting feedback about the round, oh, the miss was a pull draw. Okay, so obviously, if he's aiming at the middle of the green and hits a pull draw, it's going to miss left of the green. So he figured out by later in the round, him aiming over to the right, you can see where this launches, right? So that's going to end up more in the middle of the green, even though he's aimed to the right of the green. So being okay with playing what your current shot is. So one, testing what you currently have by some sort of randomized practice. Okay. That's step 1 in this last process. And then as you go through it around, accept what you currently are playing with, and then use that to help you get around the course. It's okay to exaggerate the practice swings. It's okay to know your tendencies, but you still have to play what you currently have. Step 1, know what you actually do and what actually happens when you play. Step 2, what are your exaggerated feels when you practice? Can you set up a very structured practice so you can isolate variables? And then step 3, 1, start to use more randomized practice when you're out there working on your game. 2 is using the randomized practice. You might start to see your tendencies. And then when you're playing, accept what your tendencies are. And then how can you still put a good round together working on something in your swing? I think all those are super important. I hope this helps, guys. I hope this helps you take that range swing out to the course. Super important topic. And I think can be frustrating if you don't understand the steps to get it better.